Welcome to Speak English with me.
Improve your vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation with our engaging lessons.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Speak English with me. I'm Sam.
And I'm Emma. We're so happy you're here. Whether you're listening on your way to work, relaxing at home, or taking a walk, thanks for spending this time with us.
Before we begin, if you enjoy learning English through natural conversations instead of long grammar lessons, don't forget to subscribe. We bring you practical English that you can use in real life, and we'd love to have you with us every week.
Today's topic is one that surprises many learners. Have you ever spoken English and someone understood every word you said, but they replied using completely different expressions?
I've seen that happen many times. A learner speaks perfect English, yet a native speaker answers in a way that sounds much simpler.
Then the learner starts wondering, did I say something wrong?
Most of the time, the answer is no.
That's what today's conversation is about. We're comparing English that many people learn in Europe with the English native speakers often use in everyday life.
Before we start, let's make one thing clear. Neither style is wrong.
That's important. We're not saying one kind of English is better than another.
We're simply giving you more choices. When you know how native speakers usually say something, you can decide if you'd like to use that version too.
Think of it like learning another shortcut. You already know one road, and today we're showing you another.
I love that comparison.
Thank you.
So, let's begin with something almost everyone says.
Weekend plans?
Weekend plans.
Imagine I ask, what are you doing next weekend?
Many learners answer, I will visit my grandparents.
That's a good sentence.
It certainly is.
But if you ask a native speaker the same question, you'll often hear, I'm visiting my grandparents.
Or, I'm going to visit my grandparents.
Those answers sound more relaxed because the plan is already decided.
Let's compare them.
What are you doing next weekend?
I'm going to visit my grandparents.
Now the second version. What are you doing next weekend?
I will visit my grandparents.
Both are correct. One simply sounds a little more natural in casual conversation.
Here's a useful tip. If your trip, meeting, or holiday is already planned, try using I'm going to or the present continuous.
For example, I'm meeting my cousin tomorrow.
I'm flying to Spain next month.
I'm staying home this weekend.
Those are sentences you'll hear every day.
Here's another difference I noticed while traveling.
Let me guess. Greetings?
You know me well.
Go on.
A friend spent days memorizing good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Then she arrived in Ireland, walked into a cafe, and the woman behind the counter smiled and said, Hiya.
She must have been confused.
She was. Later, she asked me, what does hiya mean?
That's a great example. Textbooks teach formal greetings because they're clear and polite.
Real conversations are often shorter.
You'll hear hi, hey, morning, or hiya.
Don't worry if you don't know every greeting. Listen carefully, smile, and you'll quickly understand how people use them.
Speaking of greetings, here's one that surprises many learners.
How's it going?
When people first hear that, they sometimes think they need to explain their whole day.
I've done that before.
Really?
Oh yes. Someone asked, how's it going? And I started talking about my train, the weather, and everything else that happened that morning.
And what did they do?
They smiled politely, but I realized a moment later they were only saying hello.
That's because how's it going is often just a friendly greeting.
A short answer is usually enough.
Pretty good.
Not bad.
Doing well, thanks.
Then the conversation moves on naturally.
Let's look at another small difference.
This one appears in classrooms all the time.
A learner says, I have a doubt.
Native speakers are more likely to say, I have a question.
Or, I'm not sure about something.
Imagine you're in an English class.
The teacher asks, does anyone need help?
Instead of saying, I have a doubt, you could say, I have a question about number 3.
It sounds very natural.
And it's easy to remember because you'll hear it again and again.
Here's something I hope everyone listening remembers. Fluency doesn't come from using difficult words.
It comes from hearing natural English, practicing it, making mistakes, and trying again.
Every conversation teaches you something new.
And every small change you make today becomes part of your English tomorrow. That's why we're excited to explore more of these differences together.
You know, Emma, something funny happens after people learn these natural expressions.
What happens?
They start hearing them everywhere. A phrase they've never noticed before suddenly appears in movies, podcasts, cafes, and conversations with friends.
That's so true. It's like buying a blue jacket and then noticing that everyone else seems to be wearing blue too.
Your brain finally starts paying attention.
And that's when learning becomes exciting because you stop memorizing English and start recognizing it.
Let's look at another difference that often surprises learners.
This one happens whenever people ask for permission.
Imagine you're at a friend's house. You'd like to open the window because the room feels a little warm.
Many learners might say, "May I open the window?"
That's a very polite sentence.
It is. Nobody would think it's wrong.
But among friends, native speakers usually choose something simpler.
They might say, "Can I open the window? It's getting a bit warm."
Or even, "Do you mind if I open the window?"
I like that one because it sounds friendly without being too formal.
Let's hear both versions.
"May I open the window?"
Perfectly correct.
Now another version.
"Can I open the window? It's getting a bit warm."
That feels like everyday conversation.
Here's a little tip. If you're talking to your teacher, your manager, or someone you've just met, "may I" is still a wonderful choice.
But with friends and family, "can I" is usually what you'll hear.
English changes depending on the situation.
And that's one reason it's such an interesting language.
Speaking of everyday situations, have you ever noticed how native speakers answer "thank you"?
Oh yes, there are so many possibilities.
Many learners automatically answer "you're welcome."
That's completely fine.
You'll hear it often,
But you'll also hear much shorter replies.
such as "no problem."
Sure,
Of course.
happy to help.
My personal favorite is "no worries."
I hear that all the time.
Imagine this conversation.
Thanks for carrying my bag.
"No worries."
Short, warm, and natural.
The reply doesn't need to be long.
Sometimes the shortest answers sound the friendliest.
Here's another small difference that can make your English sound more relaxed.
I think I know where you're going.
Someone asks you if you'd like some coffee.
Many learners answer, "Yes, please, I would like some coffee."
That's very polite.
But if I'm talking to a friend, I'd probably smile and say, "Yeah, I'd love one."
Or simply, "Yes, please. That'd be great."
Native speakers often leave out words that aren't really needed.
That's why conversations move so quickly.
The grammar is still there, but it feels lighter.
I remember visiting some friends one evening. Someone asked if I wanted dessert.
What did you say?
I answered, "Yes, I would like to eat the cake."
That sounds as if you're reading from a menu.
That's what everyone laughed about.
In a friendly way, I hope.
Of course. One of them smiled and said, "Just say, 'Yes, I'll have some.'"
Such a tiny change.
Yet it sounded so much more natural.
Those moments stay in your memory because they're connected to real people, not just grammar exercises.
Here's another difference I love because it's so practical.
Tell me.
Imagine you're looking for your phone.
That's a daily adventure for me.
Mine too.
I usually find it 5 minutes after I stop looking.
A learner might say, "I am searching for my phone."
Again, that's correct.
But in everyday conversation, you'll often hear, "I'm looking for my phone."
The meaning is the same.
Native speakers simply prefer "look for" in many situations.
Listen to this conversation.
What are you doing?
I'm looking for my keys.
Nice and natural.
Here's another one.
Have you seen my glasses?
No, but let's look for them together.
That's the kind of English you'll hear around the house every day.
These are the expressions that slowly become automatic when you listen to real conversations.
I think that's the secret people often miss.
What do you mean?
Some learners believe fluency comes from learning thousands of difficult words.
But many daily conversations are built with simple vocabulary.
The real skill is knowing which simple words native speakers choose most often.
That's why listening is just as important as studying.
You begin to notice patterns.
Then, one day you catch yourself saying a phrase naturally without translating it in your head.
That's a wonderful feeling.
It really is. You suddenly realize you're speaking instead of building sentences one word at a time.
Before we continue, we'd love to hear from you. Which expression have you heard native speakers use that surprised you the most? Is there a phrase that sounds very different from what you learned at school? Tell us in the comments. We'd love to read your experiences.
I always enjoy reading those stories because they remind us that every learner has a different journey.
And every conversation, whether it's in a classroom, on holiday, at work, or with a new friend, gives you another chance to make English feel a little more natural.
You know what I enjoy the most about these little differences?
What's that?
They remind us that language is alive. It keeps changing, and people naturally choose the easiest way to express an idea.
That's why listening to real conversations is so valuable. You begin to notice habits that grammar books don't always show you.
Let's imagine another everyday situation.
I'm ready.
You're talking to a friend about a movie you watched last night.
I love talking about movies.
Your friend asks, "Did you like it?"
Many learners answer, "It was very nice."
That's a perfectly good sentence.
But native speakers often become more specific.
They might say, "It was great."
It was really good.
"I loved it."
Or even, it was fun.
Instead of using nice for everything, they usually pick a word that describes their real feeling.
Let's compare two replies.
How was the movie?
It was very nice.
Now another version.
I loved it. It was really funny.
Both answers work.
The second one paints a clearer picture.
That's something worth practicing. Don't always reach for the safest word. If you know a more natural one, use it.
It makes your English sound more personal, too.
Here's another little habit I've noticed.
Go on.
Learners sometimes answer every question with yes or no.
Native speakers often make their answers a little warmer.
For example,
Someone asks, "Would you like to come with us?"
instead of only saying yes,
You could say, "Yeah, I'd love to."
or if you can't go,
"I'd love to, but I already have plans."
that tiny extra phrase keeps the conversation flowing.
It also sounds more friendly because you're giving the other person a little more information.
Conversations aren't only about answering questions.
They're about keeping the connection going.
That's a lovely way to put it.
Thanks. Here's another difference that many learners notice after watching English-speaking families.
Let me guess. The word please?
Close.
What is it?
Native speakers often soften requests instead of making them longer.
Give us an example.
Instead of saying, "Give me the salt,"
They might say, "Can you pass me the salt?"
or "Could you pass me the salt?"
It sounds friendlier because it feels like you're asking for help instead of giving an order.
Even among close friends and family, those little changes matter.
Here's another example.
"Can you grab my phone for me?"
Sure.
Very natural.
Learning these small patterns can make everyday conversations feel much more comfortable.
Before we finish today's discussion, I want to share something a listener wrote to us recently.
I remember this message.
They said, "I stopped trying to sound perfect. Instead, I started listening carefully and copying expressions that native speakers actually use."
I loved reading that.
Me too.
That's such a healthy approach because language grows through listening, repeating, and using it in real situations.
Nobody becomes a natural speaker overnight.
But every conversation leaves you with something useful.
Maybe it's a new phrase.
Maybe it's a better way to greet someone.
Maybe it's simply the confidence to speak without worrying about every single word.
And once that confidence starts growing, people notice it. They don't notice because your English suddenly becomes perfect. They notice because you sound relaxed, comfortable, and ready to communicate.
That's the kind of progress we hope every listener experiences.
Because learning English isn't about changing who you are, it's about giving yourself another way to connect with people, share your ideas, and enjoy conversations wherever life takes you.
We've talked about so many little differences today, and I think they all lead to one simple idea.
Small changes can make a big difference.
They really can. And here's another one that I've noticed quite often.
Let's hear it.
Imagine your friend asks, "Are you ready?"
Many learners answer, "I am ready."
That's perfectly correct.
But in a relaxed conversation, you'll often hear, "I'm ready."
Native speakers love contractions.
They use them all the time.
I'm,
You're,
we've.
there.
If you listen carefully to films or podcasts, you'll notice these shorter forms almost everywhere.
They make speech flow more naturally.
Here's another everyday situation.
You're running a few minutes late.
Your friend sends a message asking where you are.
A learner might write, I am coming.
A native speaker is more likely to say, I'm on my way.
I love that expression because it's useful in so many situations.
It doesn't always mean you're already walking.
Sometimes it simply means you're leaving very soon.
Let's hear a quick example.
Where are you?
I'm on my way. I'll be there in 5 minutes.
Short, friendly, and very common.
Here's another difference that can make conversations sound much more natural.
Talking about being tired.
Good guess.
Was I close?
Very close. Imagine you've had a long day at work.
A learner might say, I am very tired.
That's fine.
But native speakers often say, I'm exhausted.
Or, I'm worn out.
I'm so tired.
Those expressions help people describe how they really feel.
It's a reminder that building your vocabulary isn't about learning difficult words. It's about learning useful ones.
Now, let's imagine someone tells you some exciting news.
Maybe they got a new job.
Or they passed an important exam.
A learner might answer, I am very happy for you.
That's a lovely sentence.
Native speakers also say that.
But you'll often hear, that's amazing.
That's great news.
Good for you.
Those reactions sound energetic and help the other person feel that you're sharing their happiness.
Real conversations are full of emotion.
That's why choosing the right reaction matters.
Here's another one I hear almost every day.
Someone says, sorry I'm late.
A learner often replies, it does not matter.
Native speakers usually say, no problem.
Don't worry about it.
Or, it's fine.
They're all simple, warm replies.
And they help the conversation move forward instead of focusing on the mistake.
Our final difference today is one of my favorites because it changes how conversations end.
I think I know this one.
Let's see.
Instead of always saying goodbye,
That's right.
native speakers have so many other choices.
See you later.
Take care.
Have a good one.
See you soon.
Those little expressions make goodbyes feel more personal.
They also sound more relaxed when you're talking to friends, classmates, or coworkers.
Looking back at everything we've shared today, there's one lesson I hope stays with everyone listening.
You don't need to replace your whole way of speaking overnight.
Not at all.
Pick 1 or 2 expressions that you like today.
Use them this week.
Try them with your English teacher.
Practice them with a friend.
Say them out loud while watching your favorite TV show.
Little habits become natural through repetition.
That's how confidence grows.
Before we say goodbye, let's finish with our word tour.
We always enjoy this part because it's a chance to review today's useful language.
Our first phrase is I'm on my way.
It means you're coming or leaving soon. For example, don't worry, I'm on my way.
Next is I'm just looking.
You can use it in a shop when you don't need help yet. For example, thanks, I'm just looking.
No worries.
A friendly way to say, it's okay, or you're welcome. Example, thanks for helping me. No worries.
I'd love to.
A warm way to accept an invitation. For example, would you like to join us? I'd love to.
I think
You can use it to share your opinion. Example, I think this cafe has great coffee.
I'm good with either.
Use it when both choices are fine for you. Example, pizza or pasta. I'm good with either.
Pretty good.
A simple answer to how's it going? Example, pretty good. How about you?
Pass me.
A polite everyday request. Example, can you pass me the water?
That's great news.
A cheerful reaction when someone shares something positive.
And finally, take care.
A friendly way to say goodbye to someone you hope to see again.
We hope today's conversation helped you notice that natural English isn't about using complicated words.
It's about choosing expressions that people really use every day.
The more you listen, the more these patterns become familiar.
And one day, you'll hear yourself using them without even thinking about it.
Thanks for spending this time with us. We always enjoy these conversations, and we hope they make your English journey a little more enjoyable.
Keep listening, keep speaking, and don't be afraid to make mistakes along the way. Every conversation helps you grow. Until next time, take care and have a wonderful day.